Hey, y'all, I'm addict. My name's Alexander. All right, let me say that again. Hey, y'all, I'm an addict. My name's Alexander Sutton. And I'd like to thank God for allowing me to be clean today and be a part of this great fellowship called Narcotics Anonymous. And for that, I'm truly, truly grateful. And it's always an honor and a privilege to be at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, gathering, retreat. It don't matter as long as I'm a participant in it. And if I sound a little scattered every now and then, it's because of the medication I'm on for the Hep C. And sometimes I'm here, and sometimes I'm there, and sometimes I'm there. But anyhow, you know what impressed me about this whole thing is that I was looking around as we've done the Clean Town Countdown, and how people, you know, whether they had 1 day, 5 days, 10, 25, 30, it don't matter. Everybody was excited about their time. Everybody was excited about it. And I'm pretty sure nobody wants to give their time up. Nobody. You know, if you got 1 day, you don't really want to say, well, I think I'm going to give my day off. No. You know, everybody wants to build on that, you know, and only people out here talking about the time is those that can't get it, you know, and once they get it, they change their mind also, you know, but I can understand that feeling of wanting something and can't get it, you know, and I also like to thank the committee and all the work that they've done to pull off this retreat and have it run as smooth as it did. And I'd like to thank them for inviting me up here. It's really an honor. It's my first year coming here, but I'm pretty sure it won't be my last. You know, the newcomer, I was thinking about the newcomer and how important they are. And I remember the barn fire meeting we had last night. And Wendy, that was a tough meeting you had to do last night. That was really tough. And we appreciate, you know, what you had to go through. You couldn't see nobody. I do meetings off of you. And if you give me something back, meaning that energy, if we're reciprocating, it's like it's going to be on. But, like, she couldn't even see nobody last night. The fire had went down. And when I talk about the newcomer is like new logs being put on an old fire. You know, the people that's been here for a while, they're like them cinders on the bottom. They might be warm and all that, but they need a newcomer to spark them up, to keep them going. And that's what the newcomer is like, because we don't have a newcomer to come like a big log being put on the fire. The fire's going to go out. You are the most important person in this meeting, because if we don't have a newcomer, we don't have nobody to give to what we got. And that's the part, that's one of the beauties of Narcotics Anonymous, is that this is a program, when you give it away, you get a chance to keep it. Matter of fact, it increases, because most of us have to teach what we have to learn. We have to talk it first before we're able to walk it. Everything that I had to learn, I talked it first. You know, and I know how that works. It's thought, action, and deeds. You know, it's not in the reverse. You know, we talk about courage and all them things around here. I used to think that I had courage, but I didn't know you had to get courage after you've done whatever it was that you had to get the courage from. You know, I wanted to be in reverse. I wanted to have the courage first, but it don't work that way. And it takes courage to be here in Narcotics Anonymous. It takes courage to sit here day after day, year after year, and somebody told me, say, well, you're still doing some things that with 25 years and 8 months to be exact, that some people with 1 year is doing. And I'm saying, well, you get 25 years in 8 months, then you talk to me about that. Because you ain't walked in my shoes, you don't know what I'm going through. You know, John told me he told me a story on the phone when he asked me to come down and do this meeting. Boy, that story really, really stuck with me. And I'd like to share that story with you after I tell you this joke first. A zebra died and went to heaven. You know a zebra, right? And when he got to the pearly gate, St. Peter was there. St. Peter said, Mr. Zebra, do you have anything to ask before you come in? He said, yes, sir, your holiness. All my life I wanted to know, was I black with white stripes or white with black stripes? St. Peter said, damn, that's pretty heavy. You better go in and ask God. So he trotted on in, and he went over to God, and God said in his God voice, Mr. Zebra, do you have anything to say or questions to ask? He said, yes, sir, your holiness. I wanted to know all my life, was I black with white stripes or white with black stripes? And God said, my son, you are what you are. And the zebra looked all confused like y'all are. And so St. Peter must have been an addict. He said, come here. What did he say? So he said, he told me that, my son, you is what you is. He said, St. Peter said, oh, that explains it. The zebra said, what do you mean? He said, if you were black with white stripes, he'd have said, you is what you is. Ebonics. When he said it was a tough crowd, shit. All right, maybe you can relate to this one. I go down, I got a friend down in New Orleans. He lived in the bayou. Now, I got a problem with going in the bayou anyway. But I went back up in there because he's my friend. And when I finally found his house, he had a hound dog, and he was sitting on the porch, and the hound dog was steady screaming, "Oh! Oh! Hey, man, what's wrong with your dog? He said, nothing. He said, he's sitting on the nail. When the pain gets great enough, he'll move. That reminds me of addicts, you know what I mean? We don't move until the pain gets great. I know I don't. It's got to be some pain to motivate me to do something, anything, you know? And if the pain's not there, I don't do anything. You know, I hit a bottom in 1978, and my bottom for me was the drugs stopped working. What I mean by that, the more I used, the more I got in touch with what I was using to get away from it. That was how I felt. I used because I didn't want to feel. When I had good feelings, I know they weren't going to last, let me use. Bad feelings, let me use, because they're going to pass too, let me use. Anything in between, let me use. And when the using became greater than what I was using about, I would have traded. I'd have told you all my secrets, I'd have told you all my pain, just to not be using, but I couldn't stop. And God knows I wanted to stop way before I stopped. You know, only way I stopped, I was too broke, too tired, but couldn't go get it. You understand, them days you just wore out. But guess what? I was thinking about it. I put so much energy in thinking about how to get into using, I could have pushed the steamship from New York to Paris. You know, and I ain't even left the house yet. That's the energy that I spent thinking about the getting into using. Who can I burn? Whose house can I break in? Who haven't I burnt yet? You know, who will let me cop short? Who's giving out testers? You know, the whole thing from A to Z. Let me go get it. Let me. And that was a lot of energy and a lot of time I spent into that. You know, so anyhow, I had this prayer. And I'm pretty sure you can relate to it. It was real simple. God, please help me. I remember saying this prayer repetitiously, man. God, please help me. God, please. And I was sitting in my old car that leaked oil all over the place on Broad and Allegheny in Philadelphia. And I'm crying, God, help me, please, God. And I remember looking out my fingers, man, and I seen another addict coming down the street, a practicing addict. And all of a sudden, hey, boy, who got it? Let me get a little taste of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking he's got something. I forgot that 2 seconds ago I was crying in severe pain. So not only do I have the disease of addiction, I got amnesia. You know, I got the tendency to forget like that. That's why I show up here on a regular basis. Because I'll forget, man, in a heartbeat what it was like and what was going on. But you know what? That prayer worked for me because in my heart I had surrendered. You know, and God stepped in. When you surrender is like this. Let me show you what surrender is for me. See this ticket? No, let me use the other ticket that I didn't win off of. Yeah, I gotta surrender this shit too, because I wanted that book. Yeah, I want that book, boy. Surrender's like this. Like I only got a little corner of this here piece of paper. You see what I'm saying? And what I'm holding on to is a reservation. What I'm holding on is if, could, should, would, you know, maybe. Surrender is this. Dropping that, getting and stepping away from it before I can't pick it back up again. That's surrender to me. You see what I'm saying? And although I have to surrender on a daily basis because I just haven't found one surrender enough for me. I have to surrender in a whole lot of things. So anyhow, I ended up getting rescued. I thought I was being arrested, but I found out later on I was getting rescued. See, white-collar criminals, they get arrested. People like me get rescued. Who I got rescued from was myself. I couldn't stop using. Nobody never twisted my arm. Come on, Randy, stick a pipe in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? John, pour some liquor down his throat. You know what I mean? Somebody, when you do the joint, like, you know, turn it around and, what do you call that? Yeah, somebody shotgunned me. Shit, I was looking for somebody like that, to tell you the truth. You know, but I ain't had no takers. You know, ain't nobody never forced me to do no stuff like that. But anyhow, I go out to Montgomery County. Montgomery County, in all the states I found out, is a pretty rich county. So I'm driving in the station wagon I got that leaks oil all over the place. Even if I had got away, all I had to do was follow the oil tracks. They'd have got my ass, you know. I mean, oil was leaking everywhere. But anyhow, I go up to this house. It's a red and white house. Never forget the color. And I said, this is the house I'm going to break in. And I walked up there, on the side of the house, it had a sign. And the sign read, Alexander, this house is protected by the Shepherd Alarm people. So don't break in here. Try the house next door. You know what I did, right? I got my screwdriver out and I broke in. We addicts, it's hard for us to get it the first time, you know? So I'm in these people's houses ransacking their stuff, and I know what that feels like to be violated today. I've had things taken and stolen from me, and I know what it feels like. It feels like you've been raped, you've been violated on a deep level. Because these are your personal things. These are your personal items. And somebody come in and violate you like that. And what was happening, when I go in their house, they have jewelry and gold and stuff laying around and silverware. I didn't see rings and watches. I seen bundles of dope, bags of dope. You see what I'm saying? What is the cop man going to give me for this shit? So I'm loading up my pockets and bags with these people's personal items. And so I walk over to this door, and I see a safe in there. And it's an accordion door. And I'm like, oh, my God, the mother load. All my criminal life, I've been waiting on this job. You know, my head's like, it's got to be millions in there. I'm thinking about these guys that I had read about that broke in this house, and this guy had all that money in the safe. I'm thinking this is one of them houses. Now, mind you, I ain't got no tools. Matter of fact, I ain't never even, I don't know about cracking no safe. I can't carry it. I can't do none of that. I really didn't have no business over there. So I went over there and opened that door, and the alarm went off. The alarm went off. Now, let me back up a little bit. That morning, my drug that I like to use was meth, crank, speed, monster. Now, that drug speaks for itself. When I used to get high for that, I thought that I could see for 100 miles and hear for 200. It enhanced. I'm thinking, so ain't no way the police could ever get a hold of me because I'm too aware. This particular morning, I ended up smoking some reefer. Now, reefer's on the other end of the spectrum. I felt like a fucking monk. I was ready to start chanting. So I'm in this folks' house, and that alarm went off. The alarm went off like this. Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw. And I like, oh my God, I forgot how I got in there. From higher. So they had this accordion door. I mean, they had this plate, you know, the clear glass doors. I seen it. It looked like that door back there. And I was like, oh shit, it's open. And I broke for that door. When I realized it was just clean, I was going through it. I can see that I'm cut up pretty bad. And I'm getting in the wind. I think I'm hauling ass. I mean, I'm booking. I look back, I'm about 3 yards from the house. They had two sheriffs happened to be coming down the road, one old, one young. I wish the old one had jumped out. You know what I mean? I might have had a chance. The young one jumped out. He said, halt or I'll shoot. I'm like, shit. Halt or I'll shoot! Because I could see, hey, I mean, didn't it sound different? So I stopped, put the handcuffs on me, took me to the police car, put me in. He said, you bastard, you this. He was calling out, what's wrong with him? He said, you know whose house that was? I said, no, that's the chief of police's house. I was like, all the houses in Montgomery County, the chief of freaking police. I'm sitting in the, but here's the hit. This is what I really wanted to share. When they put me in the police car, something happened. It felt like I had been walking around with 200-pounds of weights on my shoulder. And then when they put me in the police car, it felt like the weights fell off. And I got this smirk on my face in the police car, like, and the sheriff said, excuse me, but what the fuck are you smiling about? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know. Looking back in retrospect, like I told you, I realized that I wasn't being arrested. I was being rescued. I was crying out for help, man. You know, I wanted some help. And they was going to break into the chief of police's house. They goddamn sure was going to get it. So they take me to the hospital and they fix me up. Chief of police came down and wanted to know, who is this guy that broke in my house? And I remember spilling my guts. Chief, I want help. I'm an addict. He said, you won't get help now. I'm like, what do you mean? Shit, you're going to jail. You know, but I go to jail. And you're talking about identification. I went to jail. They had a lot of people in jail. They had all kinds. They had the professors, the guys in the law clinic. They had the Muslims. They had the one percenters. They had the skinheads. They had, all these groups. I'm like, damn, I got to pick a group. Shit. Oh, and they had the addicts. Shit, that's where I went. Hey, Al, we know each other. I'm telling you, if you're in a town, all the addicts know each other, or at least heard about you. Come on, man, how you feel? I'm like, on a scale from 1 to 10, I was really feeling a 5.5 or a 6. But since they asked me, man, I am feeling so bad. I'm thinking they got something. They said, listen, they give out cough syrup down the medication line. I don't know if you've ever been in jail or not. So I'm like, okay. And it's about 8 of us. We'll go down and we'll give the cough syrup to you. And that'll take that little edge off. All right. We go down the medication line, and they are giving out cough syrup and these Dixie cups, but they're making us drink it right there. I'm like, what is this? So the guy said, don't worry about it. Just hold it in your mouth. I'm like, all right. So we all held it in our mouths, and we meet up after we got off the medication block, and they all spit it in a cup. They said, here, Al. I'm like, all right. These guys really love me. So I drank it. Yeah. What I realized out of that incident was that, and then plus, this cough syrup was only 1% or 1% of alcohol. Now, if I had had a whole gallon of it, all I would have got was the shits. That's it. But it wasn't that. It was the getting and the using. It was the camaraderie. It was the people of like kind. See, I could identify with them. I didn't feel less than or more than with these guys. We were all on the same level. You see what I'm saying? And the adrenaline, thinking we're getting over on the guards. A couple days later, it was my opportunity to drink the spit again. That's all it was, a cup of spit. So anytime you put anything in your mouth, automatically you start secreting saliva. And so I got this cup of spit. I can't wait to get back to my cell and drink it. I want to savor this one. I don't want to gulp it down. I don't want to gulp this one. Probably have a cigarette with it or something. All my life, I had this voice in my gut. Always had it. I remember having this voice as a little boy, but I couldn't identify. And it really wasn't a voice. It was more of a feeling. This feeling would come over me, and a lot of times I knew what that feeling meant, but I ignored it. Because most times that I got that feeling, I was doing something that was detrimental to my life. Or detrimental to somebody. There was something going on when I would get that feeling. It would be overwhelming sometimes. Like, I'd be driving down the highway now, because, see, now I listen, and I can feel that. I know what this feeling's about. I'm coming down the highway. I love the speed. Kicking it, yeah. Because it feels good. The music blasting, I'm speeding. And then that feeling would come. I'm like, oh, shit. So I move all the way over in the right lane. So I know what it's about. Police is somewhere around. So I move in the right lane, and I'm still speeding. And that feeling like, to say, hey, man, come on. Let's get on the point here. And I slow down, and sure enough, it'd be radar. It would be something. So I said that to say this, to let you know that I always had this voice. So I'm in my cell, and the voice said, you ain't got to do this, Alexander. And then I looked at the cup of spit, and it repulsed me. I'm like, this is spit. It was spit the other day. But it took a couple of days for me my mind to catch up with my body, man. You understand what I'm saying? And I dumped that in the toilet. That was the last time I used. And that was in 1978. And I didn't believe that this miracle would happen for me. And you know what? I didn't even know what the miracle was. But I called on a God to help me, and he put the motions in progress. All I have to do is ask. You see what I'm saying? But I got to be sincere and choose that which I asked for. See, I could want things. See, I want to be rich. And God will give me my wants. That don't mean I'm rich. He'll give me the want. But you have to choose it. Wanting and choosing something is two different things. So that process for me was like this. He put an addict in my life. I wrote a rehab. And you ever had somebody in your neighborhood that you thought was worse than you? Well, this guy, we used to call him Sam Sausage Head. I used to see Sam Sausage Head, and he had abscesses all up and down his arms, his neck, everywhere. And I would say to Sam, damn, if I get as bad as you, I'm going to stop. But you know what? I felt just like he felt. But he didn't. Only thing different, I had veins and he didn't. I had the same despair, the same hopelessness, the same degradation. Everything he was looking like, I felt like. You see? But when I was in that jail, I wrote that rehab that was in the paper, talking about they can help poly drug users. I'm like, what the fuck is a poly drug user? What I come to find out, in them days, they call a poly drug user a person that shoot dope, drink liquor, vixen hills, asthma, thorn, smoke shit, do the pipe. It didn't matter. That was me, garbage head. My drug, look, I like to do Monster, but my drug of choice is more. If you was drinking and I didn't have no Monster, don't you know I would drink? Are you smoking PCP? It don't matter. I would use it. And for me to be here and to not to give you the respect that you deserve is for me to abuse you also. You know, and that ain't what I want to do. That ain't what I want to be about. And I'm pretty sure none of us want to be about that. That's why we're so excited when people walk through this door and they share with us what's going on with them. You know, like Brandy was talking about that I have a lot of pain, a lot of things went on in my life. But one of the things that I didn't forget was that I was an addict and that I can't use under no circumstances. You know, I was married for 15 years. My wife used when she had 12 years clean. And I stayed 3 or 4 years past the expiration date. Meaning that I stayed 3 or 4 years thinking that I could fix her. I stayed 3 or 4 years thinking that I could control her using. I stayed 3 or 4 years thinking that I caused her to use. Like I'm that powerful. You know, so that's not her. She didn't expire. What expired was my thinking that I could fix her and do something about it. And that was real painful. Matter of fact, it's only been 9 months that I've left that situation, and I'm still grieving that. 15 years I was with that woman, you see, and that goes real deep for me, you know, because she was just like my mother. Matter of fact, I had married my mother. You know, I had married my mother. This hepatitis C thing, this is my second trip with this interferon and Pegatron. And, man, I feel like sometimes so disconnected, but I know that's just a feeling, and it'll pass. But you tell me when the phone rings and I'm scared to pick it up. That don't make sense to me then. All I know is that the phone is ringing and I can't pick it up. All I know is that my help is on the other end of that phone and I can't pick it up. So what I'm telling you is that if I wasn't connected to some other recovering addicts, I'd have been shit up a creek. Because you know what happened? The phone would ring all that day. I ain't answering it. It'd ring the next day. The next day, Alexander, we know you in there. Alexander, open the door. And my little boy come to the door like, you know, and I try to fake it. You know, you know how you try to fake shit. And Alexander, where you been? We've been calling you. Come and give me a hug. Say, Alexander, it's okay. We understand. You know what I'm saying? Because I put that out there first. I put that out there that I'm sick and I'm going through some shit and I'm going to need some help to get through this. I swear to God, man. And they see my truck out there and they see my motorcycle. He's in there. And they would knock, and I'd be in my bedroom because I was scared. And I don't know why I was scared. You know, sometimes it don't matter why you're scared. All you know is that you're scared. And I need somebody to come and to hug me and to hold me and to let me know that's going to be all right. We're going to get through this, Alexander. And not only do that one time in the last 8 months, several times. They've come and they've held me and hugged me and loved me back to health. Is that awesome? That's awesome shit. My family didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do with me. All they know is Alexander's going crazy. You know what I mean? He's out of his mind. Because, I mean, I'll be talking in riddles. I forget basic shit. But you knew. Because we're all the same. You got somebody in your family that's affected by this bullshit. More people are dying now from them Hep C than from AIDS. This is a serious disease. And what I'm saying, too, is the message in that. If you ain't been checked for it, get checked. It's better to know than not to know. And some things that can be done. Don't go when you think you got cirrhosis because they can't do nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? Get some freaking help, and we'll support you through it. We'll walk you through the bullshit. We will walk you through it. We'll love you through it. You know what we do. You know what we do. Who was that talking about? Vernon shared with us today that his brother died, and the funeral parlor was full of addicts. We support each other. We love each other, man. If you don't believe it, try us. Check us out. You'll be saying, damn, when are these motherfuckers going home? Fucking drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes, right? Damn. You don't want to put them out because they might not come back. You know, you're like, you know, we all addicts. Shit. Anyhow, Sam Sockhead came to visit me from this rehab to interview me. He had been clean 5 years. And he's the first one that told me that I was an addict. I'm like, shit, okay, I'll be a Republican. Shit, you ain't said nothing. I'm trying to get some help. But I was impressed with Sam Sockhead because he was the first person I ever seen that gave me some hope. You can finish this sentence. What I believed in is, once a junkie, and I couldn't grow past my beliefs. I couldn't grow past that belief. I want to do a little something with you, and it's going to take a little courage on your part to do this. I want you to take your arms and hold yourself real gently. It's going to take a little. It's going to take. Hey, and it might seem silly at first. And what you're holding on to? You're holding on to that little person inside yourself, whether it's a little girl or a little boy. And I want you to forget what they told you and listen to what we're telling you here in Narcotics Anonymous. We're telling you that you are something real special and that you're something real important. And if you was abused when you was that little person, it wasn't your fault. You just had a sick person involved in your life. You are a great individual. You have the potential to move to great heights if you're willing to just, hey, trust self and trust that little person inside of you. And when that little person inside you say, hey, I want to play baseball, let him play. That little girl says she wants to play ballerina, let her play. If she want to act silly, let her be silly. You know, because if I don't love that person inside of me that was wounded, I'll never heal here in this program at Narcotics Anonymous. I'll never be able to grow to the place that I want to grow. I'll never be able to stop shooting dope. I'll never be able to abuse people that love and care about me. I'll never be able to stop doing the things that's detrimental to myself because I'll never be able to love myself until I love that person inside of myself. You know, and it took me a long time in recovery to realize that Daddy ain't going to walk me to the barbershop. Daddy ain't going to validate me. I need to validate me. Mommy ain't going to tell me the things that I need to hear because Mommy ain't got it in Mommy to do that for me. I have to do it for me. And here in Narcotics Anonymous, we can do it for each other also. We've got to nurture that kid inside of us, man. We've got to love that person inside of us, you know, regardless of what it says, or you know, what we feel. Because it's hard. And I got in touch with that. You can let go if you like. I got in touch with that this weekend. I got my grandson with me. And my son is independent. He's in jail for homicide, first-degree murder. And I got my grandson, his son, with me. And I realized, man, that I got to protect him, you know, because nobody protected me. You know, I got whooped a lot. This is my growing up. Did you cut that stove on? Uh-huh. Come here. That's fire. Give me your hand. You'll learn, won't you? Goddamn right I will. You see what I'm saying? To be seen and not heard. You know? And they would say, honesty is the best. Honesty is this and that. Did you eat them cookies? I'm like, yeah, go get the belt. Oh, man, you know, I want to do it again. I know goddamn way you won't. And shut up. Stop that crying. I'll really give you something to cry about. Well, goddamn, ain't this something to cry about? You understand what I'm saying? And so the next time, if cookie crumbs are all on my face, I'm not going to cop to it because, shit, I'm a lie. You know? Because I found out that if I tell the truth, I'm going to get the same goddamn results. So I became a real liar professional. I had before I was 10, I had a degree in lying. You know what I'm saying? And stuffing my feelings. And stuffing my feelings. I heard some people share some stuff today that was really good for me. You know, I heard Randy share some good stuff. A girl named Johnny. And another guy shared some really good stuff, man, about, you know, people in their lives, man, and how they move through that pain and stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do, man. At 58 years old, I'm still trying to get in touch and move through some of them things, man, in my life, you know. Now, let me tell you the story that John told me. Back to that. He said that this farmer had a horse, a great horse, and the horse ran away. And the neighbors stepped over and say, hey, man, I come over to tell you about, you know, to console you on your misfortune. And the farmer said, well, how do you know it's a misfortune? So the next couple of days, the horse comes back and brings a mare with him. So the neighbor comes over and say, hey, man, I'd like to come over and talk to you about your fortunes. And he say, how do you know it's a fortune here that, you know, the horse came back? So a couple of days later, the farmer's son got on the horse and fell off and broke his leg. And the neighbor come over and said, man, I just like to, my condolences on your son falling off and breaking his leg. That misfortune. He said, how you know it's a misfortune? So a war broke out, and they came and took all the young men to war, and they died from that town, except the farmer's boy because he was crippled, and they didn't take him. So a lot of things that we think is a misfortune, it works in our favor. You see, because if I hadn't came to Narcotics Anonymous, I'd have never discovered friendships. I'd have never discovered, I'm getting a glimpse of who I am and who I want to be. I'd have never been able to do that unless I came here. I'd have never been able to sit down with men and actually physically cry and tell them some of my pains and my hurts and my fears. I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have done that. So be careful. Just observe what goes on in people's lives, even addicts' lives. A lot of times we look and we judge and say, oh, man, but you don't know if it's a force. That soul might have chose something different for itself. We don't know what path it chose, even the molesters and the people that do things that we think are vile. We don't know what that soul and what that person's going to, it's really hard to say. Now I kind of look at things on a spiritual level more so than a physical or mental level these days. I try to grow it up. And what would God have me do? What would God have me do with this situation? We some wounded people in here, man. Little boys and girls, man, and most of, because the statistics showed me that most of the people that are addicts, we've been abused in some shape, form, or fashion, and that's how I get through that shit. I ain't worked since January. I can't work and do the medicine, too. And listen, I've been to San Diego, the world. I've been here, there. I don't know how. And I ain't questioning it. So what I'm getting out of that is that my riches don't come from outside of me. My riches come from within. See, because if I don't look within, I'll do without. And I spend a lot of time looking in, prayer and meditation. I spend a lot of time surrendering to those things that I don't have no control over. I don't have no power over, so I surrender. Once I find out that I can surrender to it and win, that's it. I surrender. First step. Not only do I have to surrender, I have to recognize the disease when it's working in my life. Because if I can't recognize it, how am I going to do anything about it? Then I have to acknowledge it. Acknowledgement is real important. Then I have to accept it and own it. Only way I can surrender it. And I'm always going to be a little bit unmanageable. I've accepted that. When I became conscious, when that guy came to the penitentiary for me, they said in the basic text that sometimes God can work for us way before we know what that God is. This guy showed up at the penitentiary 5 years clean, and man, that was my hope. I came to believe when I seen him that whatever he's doing, I didn't know what he was doing. But whatever he's doing, I'm going to do too. I'm going to do the same thing. So I knew what it was like to come to believe it. You didn't have to convince me was I insane. I lived in an abandoned building that smelled like shit. Because the people that was there before I got there used the facilities and it ran out in the basement and the house literally smelled like shit. Some Spanish friend of mine gave me the house. It wasn't even his. He'd take me around to show me the house. So he's giving me the grand tour. Once I get, I say, what's that smell? He said, oh, the pipes are busted in the basement. I'm like, all right. So he showed me the second floor. I said, what's all that water? He said, well, on the third floor, the roof is leaking. So I go from the third floor, and I'm looking around, I'm surveying. I'm like, shit. Now, remember what my drug of choice was. Crank, monster, speed. I'm looking, I'm like, shit. I can fix this place up. Shit. Rent out the third and the second, and I can live rent-free on the first. No money, no tools, no skills, only a bunch of grandiose freaking ideas. That's what the drug did for me. It gave me, if I had $1, it made me feel like I had 100. You know what I'm saying? It always grandiose ideas with that drug. So I'm living in this place. So I called my mother one day. She said, Alexander, some people say you're losing your mind. I'm like, no, Mom, I'm doing good. I just bought a condo right on Park Avenue. She said, well, give me the address. So I gave her the address and shit. So that I got a little sting, and I bought some stuff, and I had all these addicts over. And I had this idea. I wanted all the plaster knocked off the walls, down to the bare brick, and up on the ceiling to the rafters. I wanted the country style. So that Sunday, my mom came over, her and my youngest son's mother, and they knocked. Yeah, who is it? Oh, it's Ruth, baby. Oh, my mom. I run to the door. Oh, by the way, that smell of shit went away. Not because it went away. It's because I lived in it so long, it was normal. So I opened the door, and my mother and the girl come in, plaster everywhere. House stinking like shit. And they walk in, and my mother said, "Oh, my God." And the girl started crying. And they ran out. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with them? I couldn't see the insanity. I couldn't see the way I was living. I couldn't see it through their eyes. So I go outside and say, "Mom, what's wrong?" I'm like, "Boy, why are you living like that?" They go, "I wish you could come back and live with me." That's how I got there. She threw me out. She gave me an ultimatum. You either stop using them at speed or you got to go. I'm holding trash bags in my hand. I was like, "Can I get 2 of them trash bags?" I put this shit in the trash bags, the hefties, and I moved. That's how I got there. She said, "You can move back." Let me tell you a story. She didn't see my mother volunteer to take me nowhere. So she should have got the hint from that. There was a snake on the road, and his wagon rolled over the snake. It was in the wintertime, and broke the snake, and the snake couldn't move. And this old lady was coming down the road. She gets skipping, all happy and shit. And the snake was on the road saying, "Help me. Can somebody help me?" And they made eye contact. And she said, "No, you're a snake, and you'll bite me." He said, I swear to God, I'll never bite you. I swear on a stack of Bibles. I swear, blah, blah, blah. Please help me. I'm a God. So she picked him up, took him home, bandaged him up. Gave him milk and honey, all kinds of shit. So one day she came home and didn't see the snake and stepped on his ass. And he turned around. He bit her. And she said, "Oh, my God, you bit me. You promised you wouldn't bite me. You promised." I said, "Bitch, I'm a snake. That's what I do." So the girl took me back home, and her shit started missing. And she said, "Alexander, you said you wouldn't." I said, "Bitch, I'm an addict. That's what I do. I burn family. The people that's close to me, them the ones that I hurt." He said, "Oh, well, your ass got to go." you got to fucking go, And that's expected, So the process for me is that I ended up going to the penitentiary for 5 years, man, and I ended up going to a rehab after doing 5 years. I got my first 5 years clean in the penitentiary, and I got my next 18 months clean in a rehab. And while I was there, this is in the 80s now. I'm in the 80s. I go to a rehab in 83. I'm safe in jail, and I'm safe in rehabs. I don't know about you. But here's the thing that happened. I'm in jail, and I didn't use the last time when I went to the penitentiary. 78 was the last time I used. When I go to the penitentiary, didn't use. And I go to rehab. I'm safe in them places because somebody's always challenging me. You want to get high? I don't know if you've ever been to a rehab, but this was therapeutic too. They would put the pressure on your ass every time they see you. And so I was safe there. I know what I'm going to use in jail, but I was starting to think, what am I going to do when I get out? And all of a sudden, I thought it, and here come Narcotics Anonymous. Here come H&I. No, what they did was hired one of us, a recovering addict, and the first thing he wanted to know was, what night is Narcotics Anonymous? We said, we don't know. What is Narcotics Anonymous? We didn't know in 83. The rehabs didn't know. They had AA, but they didn't have Narcotics Anonymous. And he went down to the director's office. That next Monday, we had H&I. And that's how I found out about this fellowship. I started going to outside meetings. And they must have put newcomer stickers on our heads that we couldn't see. We would be all dressed up in the donations, and we would go to the outside meetings, and then all the old timers would rush up to us, and they would newcomers, like we were really something good to eat. My first time there, a guy, maybe a little, about my size, but a little taller, he came up to me. He said, "Hi, give me a hug," and he hugged me. And, man, it felt like he had been hugging me for a minute or two. He probably was only hugging me a few seconds, but, man, I started squirming. I'm like, what's this guy doing? And the more I squirmed, the tighter he held me. And I'm like, I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. And when I surrendered and I let go, he relaxed me. And I walked away. I was like, damn, my legs was weak. And I was thinking to myself, God damn, I know I'm gay now. Shit. No fucking hug's supposed to feel that good. I'm serious. I walked away like, damn. And every time they would say, anybody want to go to the third Walnut meeting? I wanted to go to that meeting and find that guy. I'm serious. I could not understand. And what I figured out after I stayed here, I had a man problem. See, my father used to whoop my ass he was brutal. He would naked, tie my ass up upside down on the door thing and whoop my ass, man. And my mom would stand there and watch. So I had double feelings because she didn't do nothing about it. But later on, trying to make amends and all that stuff, what I come to, she told me I was just as scared as you, boy. I was scared too. He whooped my ass the same as he whooped yours. And I was like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? So I found that out early. And when that man hugged me, I let go of some of that stuff that I had with men. And I was going to get better if I didn't allow you in, if I didn't trust you. You know? So that was some of my childhood trauma shit. I started to trust you. And that's why if you give me a hug, I'm going to hug your ass. And if you ain't used to being hugged, don't fucking hug me. And if you think you're gay and you don't know, maybe you better wait. But it don't matter. If you gay, we love you anyway. We don't give a fuck here. We don't care what you are, how you are, as long as you're willing to surrender to what's going on here. You know, and like you ever, because we're really good at this hugging. Let me show you what a hug is. Come here, Randy, for a minute. Let me show you how you hug. Because a lot of times we don't know. So if we don't know, how are we going to do it? Here's a hug. That's not a hug. You know what I'm talking about. But he didn't burp me. That's a burp. I've been burped already. I don't need to be burped. You know what I'm saying? You don't feel me burp. All I feel is you beating my back. You know? Or the one-arm hug. They hug you with the one arm. Or the sideways hug. What the fuck is that? That's a half-ass hug. You need to feel me. Not in a sexual way, but I want to let you know that you're safe here. And that we'll protect you and love you until you can love yourself. That's what I'm telling you. And that's what we should be doing, man, because this is about love. That's all it is. And the rest of it is bullshit. It's just the icing on the cake to get us to realize that it's about love and God. That's it. Making decisions, man, in our life to say, I'm going to get out the way and let God do this. Because that's where I increase my faith. Why would I want to do an inventory? Why would I want to expose myself to shit? I need to know what's in my way from having a relationship with God. And God ain't no outside entity for me. He lives within inside of me. All I got to do is look within, and I'll get all the things without. That was a hug. And we ain't got to be scared of each other. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not your father. I'm not your uncle. I'm not the bully in the neighborhood. I'm your friend. I'm a recovering addict just like you are, man. And I ain't here to fucking hurt you. You know, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to try to give you what I want for myself, and that's love. Because I can't get it unless I try to give it. The same door that allows it to come out is the same door that brings it back. You know, I want somebody to love and care about me. I want somebody, man, to love me for me with no strings attached. And at first, I got to do it with you men, because a woman can't show me how to be a man. She just can't. There's some things about us that's a little complicated, too. You know, and I need another man. I need to be able to talk to him when I'm feeling insecure about my penis size. I need to be able to talk to him when I'm a pre-ejaculator. I need to talk. What do I do? So the guy told me, say, breathe, motherfucker. I'm like, what breathing got to do with me coming too fast? He said, because you're all uptight. You got to fucking relax. And I realized I was walking around like this. He said, breathe. I'm like, oh, goddamn. Woo. And I went that first night. I was so happy to get home. I went from 5 seconds to 15. I was happy as shit. My wife said, damn, what happened? I'm like, I talked to this guy in a meeting. Well, what did he tell you? He told me, breathe, motherfucker. Yeah. Eventually, I worked myself up to 2 minutes. That's about the best I could do. Then when you get older, in your head, my head be telling me that, okay, the first one will be quick, but that second one, boy, you'll be like Don Juan. When you get close to 60 and on this medication, your ass ain't going to be like Don nothing. Don Knotts, maybe. But I need to talk to somebody about that kind of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So I go tell a woman, my shit don't get as hard as it used to. I ain't gonna tell no woman no shit like that. Yeah, my shit's rock hard. I'm serious. And sex is very, look, this is men's, this is our thing. I'm telling you, we fall real short, very insecure in that area. My wife, soon to be ex, we were fighting. Somebody was talking, in the relationship, they was talking about fighting fair and shit. Boy, look, you're divorced. You'll see how fair your ass gonna fight. You little dick motherfucker. Oh, man. You ain't have to go there. Dented breast. You know, she had the breast, it had a little dent in it. I knew that was, you understand, we start slinging real shit. You know what I'm saying? And you in it. Steps don't mean shit then. Emotionally, I need to call somebody, man. I need to call another man. And they'll say right away, hey, man, you know, you're going through some vulnerable areas. You're going through some things here. Been there, done that, brother. Surrender. Let it go. Pray on the phone with them or something. You know what I mean? And she need to give it to women. Hey, what are you trying to do? You know? I mean, I've had them situations. These are real situations. Let me tell you about another. This is a good one. I go to Tijuana, Mexico from San Diego. We are in San Diego. I couldn't sell all the merchandise with my sponsor. Man, it was traumatic. And he lost a lot of money, so did I. But anyhow, I'm hiding behind my field, so I go to Tijuana. I'm going to go to a whorehouse down in Tijuana. So we're in this place. They got all these women lined up, and I didn't choose one. One chose me. And we go up to the room, and when I get up there, my recovery kicks in. Take your clothes off, honey. I'm like, ow. She said, you're going to have to pay me anyway. I couldn't do nothing. My recovery kicked in. It was just a fantasy. It was just something that I was trying to hide behind. You know, and I'm like, God damn. So I leave, and I come outside, and the boys are waiting. Hey, Al, I wasn't, man. I kicked ass, boy. I tore that ass up. And I said, you know what? I couldn't do that. That didn't work for me. Man, at first I felt I said, I couldn't do that, man. That ain't who I am today. That ain't the highest part of me. That ain't who I want to elevate myself to. You know, I can't do that. But I thought for a minute, it's just like food. It's just like food. Shit. My refrigerator is one of them test ones. You see how many times you can open the door? You got a little count on the motherfucker? Alexander, you opened it 15,000 times last week. You broke your record. And most times you open it was during the night. I'll go in there and look. I'll shed it. I'll go back in and look at TV. I'll come back 2 minutes later. Like some new shit walked in there. Ain't no new shit walked in there. And I come to find out that was a problem. Eating is a problem. Sex was a problem. And all them things I had to eventually work on here in Narcotics Anonymous. Like right now, I got about 8 or 9 days off of sugar. You know, I think I'm past the detox part. I've been in denial for 4 years, at least. You know what I mean? Disease. They say that when we substitute sex first, then next is food. But food and sex is running neck to neck. Food is coming down the stretch. Food is hauling ass. Sex is gaining on food. You know? Then here come money. Money look like he might be in the race. Right behind money, jobs. Jobs is coming up close. You know? All these things, man, I'll substitute in a heartbeat, trying to duck who I really am. You know, somebody talked about defects of character today. Mine is defects of character, because my defects of character, they are only things inside of me that God put in me. When they're defective is when I take them above and beyond what they were designed to do. Lust is not a character defect, unless not only am I lusting on my wife, that's a good thing, but now I want yours and my neighbor's dog, cat, chickens. Now I'm really into deep character defects. You know, money, greed. Them things are not character defects until I take them above and beyond what they were designed to do. Then they become defective characters of character. You know, these are things that were designed within me by Almighty God. And when I act out on them, you know, and I know what they are, is my shortcomings. I don't have to, but I do anyway. And I have to get humble to ask God, say, God, please help me with these. And they'll never be removed. They'll always be there. But will I act out on them in the same ways? No, because I get better. I couldn't have the sex with the woman. It was a good idea. here's how slick food is. I got my grandson. Let me buy 2 packs of chocolate chip cookies. He ain't opened none of them. I'm like, hey, you got chocolate chips? I just want to see him bite one. You know what I'm saying? Because my food, I want to vicariously eat that cookie with him. That's how slick food is. Food is slick. And you don't have to be big to have a food addiction. Bulimics, anorexic, all that shit. As more men are getting involved today, you know. And I'm at this meeting. I went with a friend of mine, and they had some big girls in there. Big girls. I'm like, shit, I ain't that big. And girls talk about hiding a candy bar. I ain't never hit a candy bar. Hear me? Going in fucking denial, comparing myself out. You know, but I felt just like them women when the fucking ice cream that hottened us. Hey, hell, we in here. What the fuck you gonna do? Then you gonna break us. You ain't got to eat the whole pint. You can eat a little bit of meat. That's the ones with the nuts in it. I like that the best. Then the cherry stuff. That's my next. They in there calling me. You know what I mean? Not going there. All right, I don't want to eat a little bit of you. Couple. So when I'm down on the bottom, I'm like, fuck, I ain't gonna eat all this. I put the top on it. Then I get the next one out. You know what I mean? I'm tricking myself, and I eat part of that. That's disease of addiction. Big time working on me. You know, I thought about when I made a list, my sponsor told me put everybody on it. And then I could reduce it. You know, but put people on and become willing to make amends. And that was hard for me because I thought everybody had hurt me when I first started. But I come to realize that I wounded a lot of people, even my neighbors. You know, and then making amends, man. The best amends that I would make was to my mother. She said, boy, I see what you're doing. You ain't got to do nothing here, but keep doing what you're doing. Ain't that a great feeling? When your mother and your children tell you that they love you and that what you're doing is okay. And when you're wrong, properly admit it. Well, that step I can skip over. I ain't never wrong. Look, I'm wrong all the time. And I have to tell you when I'm wrong. And I have to step to you, not 2 weeks from now, but that day. You know, and fix that. And a lot of times I don't have to step to you, but I better let myself know when I do my inventory that night what's going on. You know, if I harm somebody in one shape, form, or fashion. And the 11th step is the best step that I work right now in my life, the maintenance step, the best maintenance step, because it allows me to make contact with Almighty God. And how that happens for me is that through prayer and meditation, I get my answers. And like prayer is like me constantly looking inside of myself and seeing what I would like to choose for myself. And meditation is just me staying still long enough to get the answers. Sometimes the answers is immediately, and sometimes it's not. The answers for me is like, I wanted to really come up here, but I had something else to do, and I tried to tell John that I had to do it, and John was like, hey, well, can't you work that out some kind of way? And I prayed and I meditated on it, and guess what? The guy said, we really don't need you to do what we thought we needed you to do. You know, so it worked out for me, but I went through prayer and meditation. One time I was meditating. I don't know if you meditate, if you're on the 11th step or not. Ever been to the 11th step? But meditation for me is looking at my breath and my breathing and start to think about something serene in my life or affirmation of some kind, and I'm breathing and I'm going, watching myself breathe, and eventually I start to get deep. One time I got so deep that I found myself letting go. And I don't know if you ever let go in meditation, and as I let go, I got afraid. And it felt like I was a grain of sand being dropped on the Sahara Desert. And what I got afraid of is that when I fell on the Sahara, I thought that I would get lost with the rest of the sands. But what I come to realize through prayer and meditation is that I would become a part of the whole Sahara. You know, that I will be one with everything else. So that's how the prayer and the meditation works for me. And today, doing the 12th step, for me, is just showing up a lot of times. Because you find how many people with 25 years and 8 months clean still making meetings on a regular basis, still have a position in their home group, still picking up chairs, still picking up a newcomer, still sponsoring people, still being sponsored, still working the steps just like day one. I work the steps the same way I did in day one, you know? And that assures me maybe if I do what I did yesterday that I'll have another day clean. I go to the prison because that's the way I came. Who's best to go to a jail than me? I spent 3 tours in Greatest for it. 3 times, shit. I know exactly what's going on there. You see? So you talking about carrying a message and practice these principles in all my affairs. And sometimes doing the wrong thing helps me practice the principles. It's like going to the whorehouse. You know what? Some people label it as wrong. I label it as part of the process. I needed to do that for me. I needed to do that. I needed to go there to see that didn't work for me. You see, I needed to be there. And some people tell me, well, that's wrong, that's right. All I say is that's the process. I don't nickname it. You know, because a lot of things in my life you might think is wrong, but it was right for me. You see what I'm saying? So it's important that we don't judge each other. You know, it's hard though. But if you judge them, you end up walking in them shoes. I found that out the hard way. You know, I've judged people. You shouldn't pick up them prostitutes. Yeah, I'll go. You know, I didn't know what. You understand what I'm saying? So don't judge because you don't know what's going on with people. The hardest part of any of this kind of stuff is the waiting. It's waiting to come up here because you do a meeting 1,000 times in your freaking head. You know, my sponsor, he asked me, was I afraid? Shit, if I'm afraid of you, I'm scared of me. Because you ain't no different than me. And if you've never done this, just keep coming back. And eventually you will, and you'll find out it's not an easy job, you know, to kind of connect with other souls. And some people don't want to be connected too. They don't want to be a part. They just here. They don't know why they're here, you know, but eventually they'll figure it out. You know, it'll all work out in the end. You'll be a better parent, a better employee, a better lover, a better whatever you want to be. All you got to do is choose it. And it'll happen for you, you know. But I've heard some great people here this weekend. Hope you got something out of what I shared with you, you know. And I hope to see you guys again sometime, maybe in the Free State area. We got a hell of an area down in the Free State. We have our convention in November. Maybe you guys can be a part of that. Maybe you guys will come down and help us celebrate this gift called recovery. So with that, I'll keep coming back. I'm Alexander. I'm an addict.